On everybody, BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets. We're going to be talking through this NFL Showdown slate. Excuse me. It is going to be, I'm sure we'll have some things that we'll have some more clarity on later, namely Cordarrelle Patterson, who I think is going to be okay, but we'll see how it goes. Sheets, any sort of overall thoughts on the game, on the strategy, anything to before we jump into talking about some of the favorite plays?
Yeah, I like Atlanta in the game against the spread. Like a full 1/8 of the unit. So that's like a strong, 50.02% liking here. But yeah, the Cordarrelle Patterson news is something that everybody can, spend too much time discussing if they want. The other thing what's interesting to me is I usually get, one or two just kind of like funsy plays to play. I have one, but I think it's going to be people are going to get on it. But I don't know. It seems as though. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about Cordarrelle Patterson. First of all, do you think he's going to play? Let's see.
My first thought was that I think that they said that he returned to practice the other day, right? Is that the last news that I heard?
Yeah.
I don't know. I will have to see on that one. That'll obviously kind of open up some things, but will it really? Because this team can't run the ball anyways, and he's really they just lose a receiver then. I guess it would make Gage and Zacchaeus and Tajay Sharp a little bit more desirable. Maybe open up Christian Blake as a value play at 200. That's pretty much, I think, all it would really do. Kyle Pitts would become a much better play. Things like that. I think it'll affect the passing game more. Maybe we could go to Davis on a one-gamer slate, but I feel like that.
Well,
go ahead.
I'll tell you what's interesting with this pricing. I think money's going to be left on the table now. No one's expensive.
It's possible. Yeah. That's a good point.
I don't know. Maybe that is. I don't know.
No, you're right though. These teams, it's a little weird because I guess you're right. It definitely does seem doable to leave money on the table here.
But let's do the right thing. Let's start with let's pretend it's like an actual game. So New England's the favorite, right? So you want to start with the New England quarterback? Or do you want to start with Matt? Or do you want to start with Matt Ryan?
I'll go both. I like I like Mac Jones. I think that I prefer Matt Ryan in this particular game. I was tending to agree with you with the Atlanta thing over New England. And by the way, obviously I think it's the first time I think they've met since the famous Super Bowl, the 28-3. And I don't know. I think New England's really good, and I don't think Atlanta is really good. But it's weird that I still kind of like Atlanta here. By the way, home teams this year have this is obviously when they're supposed to lose, not against the spread or anything, that home teams have a losing record overall in the NFL this year. And the NFL has started adjusting lines according to that. So just keep that in mind going into Sunday.
The problem with Ryan is I'm not exactly sure
who he's throwing the ball to.
Who he's throwing the ball to, except for Kyle Pitts, right?
Yep. Yeah, Kyle Pitts would be the main play for me. I absolutely love what they're doing with Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith may be back this week. He's another big question mark. Hunter Henry has become the little red zone darling. He has a touchdown, at least one touchdown in six of the last 7 games. He had two touchdowns last week. Boy, that one little pivot I could have made over to him would have won me the Wildcat. And I did it in other lineups. I just didn't do it in that one, and that would have been really sweet. But so you have like I think that Pitts is the number one play to me of all these guys. I think that after him, it's like it's a mishmash because you have Damian Harris, but are they going to give Damian Harris all the run after Ramondre Stevenson just had a huge game again in maybe their best win of the season? That was a huge win, that win over Cleveland. They dominated them. Stevenson had 27 fantasy points. So it's hard to know what they're going to do with the Harris. I'm going to wait for some coach speak a little closer to the game. But I actually could see maybe playing Stevenson instead of Harris at basically the same price. And knowing that he's probably, the underdog guy and not going to get the love, but I'll take that kind of a shot because most of what I'm going to suggest is pretty chalky. I mean, I really like the Pitts play. I really like if we lose Cordell Patterson, I like Christian Blake as a long shot 200 guy. I like Nikhil Harry as a long shot 600 guy. If you need it, but do we even need it on this slate? As you mentioned, I don't think we do. I think this could be Thursday night games tend to be better for kickers. Maybe a Young Ho Koo, the Korean kicker for Atlanta. But then, as in terms of main plays, I want one of Jacoby Myers or Bourne at least, probably maybe both of them. Maybe those two in Pitts would be where I would start. And then I want like Stevenson or Damian Harris, but I think I would side with Stevenson at least as of right now. I might change that later. And if I was, go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, like you hit the nail right on the head. I think with you found the under 1K guy for me, and that would be Nikhil Harry. Mm-hmm. He played like 50% of the snaps last week, and that's good enough for me, right? He wasn't targeted really, only one target, but
he had 3.5. You'll take 3 fantasy points for 600, right? Maybe not on this slate, but usually we would.
Maybe you can on this slate. I mean, the more I'm looking at the slate, I mean, I think like under 100 might win this thing. I don't know.
You could be right, which that brings in a whole other thing. So we know Ryan can make mistakes. There's a rookie quarterback playing for New England. Yeah. He's looked really good. But maybe we should be looking more at these defenses. The Patriots defense is expensive, but I think there is a route for the defenses to be a part of it. I still think I'm rating it Pitts. Probably, I would think I'd give a little bit of an edge to Bourne over Jacoby Myers. Really close between those two for me, but I'm trying to factor in ownership too. Then I would go with one of the running backs, probably Ramondre Stevenson, unless I hear some coach speak that he's not going to be in there as much. And the weird guy who's going to be left out a little bit here, what about Brandon Bolden? Maybe he won't be left out because he's cheap, but I think that like all of these guys are going to get looks. So maybe Brandon Bolden is the thing we could do in the running game. The question is, we just don't need the savings really, right?
No, I don't think so.
So unless you're going to play both quarterbacks and Cordarrelle, assuming that he's in, that's the only reason we need to do it. Those are the only, and then Pitts. And even still, you don't need to go that low. So it's just interesting. And Jonnu Smith is a big question mark. And obviously Cordarrelle Patterson is a huge, big question mark. So we'll figure that out. But I do think that Brandon Bolden or Ramondre Stevenson should have significantly lower ownership than Damian Harris is my early morning projection. And I think that's something we could do to get a little different. I think why I like New England on these kind of slates is because it really could be any of these running backs at any time. And they're all going to have opportunities. So you can play just the lowest owned one and feel pretty good about it, I think.
Who's been performing is Kendrick Ford.
He's been awesome. And he, by the way, they'll run some trick plays with him too. He'll throw the ball.
I mean, I was going to say before I pulled up his game log that Kendrick Ford's always a guy that kind of, you don't hear about him and then he shows up in a showdown when you don't need, you need other people, but he's actually put up games. I mean,
he's been having big stuff happening. He's thrown touchdowns, he's catching touchdowns. Yeah.
So I guess if you were going to play Matt Jones, it would be some combination of Bourne, Henry, and I mean, you could play Harry, obviously, but Bourne, Henry, and Myers. Those would be the top guys, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I do think I want to go back to the Hunter Henry being this is a great spot for him. Like the red zone target, the short week, maybe leaning a little bit more on the tight end than usual. If there's no Jonnu Smith, if there is a Jonnu Smith, I think that lowers his ownership and makes him a very, very solid play.
Okay.
I mean, he caught 3 balls last week and he was the second highest score, or I guess he was the third highest score, but he put up 19 fantasy points or whatever. 19 fantasy points might be the highest anybody scores in this game for any player.
Right.
And he's got it in him. I mean, they're throwing it to him in the end zone every time. Look at the consistency. It's incredible. Since he's gotten over there, they've really found a nice little rhythm with him, specifically near the goal line. So I really like both tight end play. The double tight end here seems like a good way to go with one of Bourne or Myers. I do like even though I think that Atlanta stays in the game, I still find myself siding more with the Patriots players.
Okay.
That's just where I'm at. But we'll touch on it later when we do our live at 6:30 for basketball, and we can touch on this stuff. And
yep, hopefully with any luck, we'll get some some news on Cordell Patterson somewhat soon.
Yeah, we'll know about it for sure by then, because they have to let us know a couple hours. What is it? So it'll at least be 90 minutes before game time. So at least by the time we get off the air, we'll know. But we can answer everything, and I'm sure Rody will be in the Discord because we've got to record a video this evening.
Oh, okay.
Weekend. So hopefully we can get Rody to maybe lend his expertise on this stuff.
Okay.
All right. Sheets, anything else before we get out of here?
No, we're good.
All right. Well, hopefully Sheets feels better. That's the step number one.
Yeah.
Next step is somebody make a bunch of money tonight and let us know in Discord, and we'll celebrate. All right.
That sounds good too.
All right. Good luck, everybody.